Hey, what's up, agents? TBL here, coming back at you with some more Division beta gameplay footage. And in today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about how I feel about the beta. It's been out for a couple of days now. I've had plenty of time to play it on both Xbox and PlayStation 4. And we're going to be talking a little bit about my experience and what I think about the beta as a whole and how it will affect the main game. As you can see here, we are starting off in the Dark Zone. I have been spending a lot of time in here grinding things up. Wound up buying both of the high-end / exotic weapons, the Caduceus assault rifle and the Cassidy shotgun. And they are both beastly. They melt people's faces. The assault rifle in particular is very good. It's very stable, very high power, and it's got some great abilities. If before the beta ends, if you can manage to get some of your stats high enough to where you can unlock the 2 secondary abilities on it, this thing absolutely melts in PvE and PvP. The Cassidy shotgun's pretty good for NPC players, for computer characters like this. You see, it just burns down computer shields, even when they're elite level enemies like that. But the shotgun's not so great for PvP. People move around way too quickly. But anyways, the beta, as you guys should know by now, has been extended by 24 hours, so it's not going to be ending until Tuesday. Hold on, let me get away from this guy. Oh! He merged. He had a friend. It's Golf Man. Melee guys, I mean, this is a third-person cover shooter, so for whatever reason, melee attacks are way more powerful than bullets. It takes a ton of shots to drop enemies, especially at the higher levels here in the Dark Zone, but it just takes 3 melee hits to kill you, so you gotta watch out for that sort of thing. But anyways, the beta was extended by 24 hours because of some issues with other people's beta codes going out, so Ubisoft decided to extend the beta, and I think they might have even opened it up for people who didn't even pre-order the game to be able to get in on it. But I've played this for a couple of days now, and I've got to say, I've had a lot of fun with it. The beta itself is kind of bare bones, especially in the PvE section. You've only really got one story mission to upgrade one part of your base, which has 3 different wings that you can upgrade. Those wings being medical, security, and something else like intel, I do believe, or something like that. And you can only really upgrade the medical wing, which is fine. I think that's not too bad for a beta. But the other content of it is just kind of lackluster. There's only one story mission, and that story mission is going to be your main way of leveling up in the PvE zone, which has a level cap in the beta of 8. But thankfully you can run the main mission multiple times and just change the difficulty to hard to get better drops, better rewards, and better EXP from enemies. Although, of course, being a hard mode, it will be significantly harder. But that's pretty much it. There are a bunch of little side missions and like little PvE events that you can do, like, hey, go rescue a hostage, or hey, there's some side quests where you have to find one of the main character's sisters, and it's really cool. It's kind of like the Batman Arkham series with their investigations, and you can go around and deal with echoes, which are like satellite surveillance of events that happened around the city. And so there's a few things like that, but overall not really too much for you to do in the PvE section. And I guess I understand it. It's a beta. There's not going to be a ton of content in there, but I do wish that the PvE area of New York that they give you, which is very small and it's blocked off by beta walls, that if you go outside of them after about 10 seconds, it'll just respawn you right back into the normal beta zone. So there's a significant portion of the city that's blocked off from you, and you only get a very small portion to actually play in. And my problem with it is that very small portion that you get is very sparsely populated. There's a couple of areas where enemies spawn, but I think Ubisoft did say that most of the roving gangs that you'll be running into in the main game have been removed for the beta, so it really just kind of makes the PvE area feel kind of empty when you run around and once you've completed the missions. Like, if you were to look at my game map, the PvE zone is completely empty. There's no markers. All you can see is the one story mission that you can repeat. And again, I know it's a beta, so there's not going to be a lot of content in there, but I just wish they would have given us a little bit more of something to do in that big sandbox PvE zone. Now, in addition to that PvE zone, though, we have, of course, what I'm playing through right now, the Dark Zone. And this is kind of where the meat and potatoes of the beta are located right now. This is the zone where you can go and fight NPCs who are of a much higher level or other players. Now, the Dark Zone, to give you a quick explanation of it, the Dark Zone is a PvP zone that's heavily contaminated and cut off from communications with the main Division headquarters. Now, what this means is that other players who are also agents of the Division can turn on you at any time and face no repercussions story mode-wise. Now, the main purpose of this area is for you to come in and get super rare loot. The Dark Zone is absolutely filled to the brim with very powerful enemies who grant you great EXP and some great weapons and armor and just gear all around. There are sort of like dungeon-like instances underground where you can fight bosses and get chances at specific gear. There are chests scattered all throughout the Dark Zone that are in contaminated areas that you have to get special items called Dark Zone keys to unlock, and there's just generally loot all over the place. Now, the difference between the loot that you get in here and in PvE is the loot that you pick up in the Dark Zone is contaminated. And before you can use it, you have to extract it from the Dark Zone via an extraction zone that you hook things up to a helicopter after you call it in, and it flies off, and it'll drop it off at your home base back in PvE where you can pick it up. Now, the catch here is that other players can kill you and steal the stuff you picked up. All of the loot that you pick up in the Dark Zone can be stolen from you if you're killed by another player. You drop it when you die, and that not just the loot, you also drop some Dark Zone keys, you drop some of the Dark Zone currency, just called DZ funds, and you can drop Dark Zone experience. You can see up there, your Dark Zone EXP is the purple level bar, and your PvE EXP is the yellow, or rather orange level bar. I am level 12 in the Dark Zone, which is currently the max that you can get in the beta. But if another player, a rogue agent, were to kill me, I would lose some of my EXP, and I could eventually lose an entire level if I kept on dying. And that sort of brings us to the fun and the real danger of the Dark Zone. The rogue agents, other players. Now, of course, whenever you head into the Dark Zone, you should definitely go with a friend. It's a very dangerous area, even if you're only fighting NPCs, and having somebody to watch your back will help you out in more ways than one. But when you're playing through the Dark Zone, you can take shots at other players, and dealing a little bit of damage to them will make your name, or rather your health, show up in red, but you won't be marked as a rogue until you do, I think, more than 60% of their health, or take them down completely. And once you're marked as a rogue, you show up on every other player's radar periodically, and they'll get bounties and additional funds for killing you. Now, there are ranking systems for rogues as well. When you kill one player, of course, you start at rank 1, and you can go all the way up to rank 5 by killing at least 5 players. And once you hit rank 5 as a rogue, a mission update goes out to every other player in the zone with a timer, and your name and your location on the map is constantly broadcast in real time rather than as sort of a radar ping with the lower rogue ranks. And if anyone kills you, they get a huge bounty that has just built up on you. And pretty much at that point, other players are incentivized to hunt you down and take you out. So there's a real risk-reward system towards being a rogue player. You can, of course, go rogue and kill other people and try to steal their stuff and extract it yourself, but doing that also puts a giant target on your back. Now, looking at the gameplay here, we are at one of the extraction zones. I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but the way extractions work is once you've picked up some stuff in the Dark Zone, you can see the back of my pack. It says that I have 6 out of 6 items. Other players can see that as well. They can see when you've got stuff. You have to head to an extraction zone and call in the extraction helicopter. And then, just like I did right there, you're going to hook your stuff up, it'll fly away after a couple seconds, and then your items will safely be delivered to the PvE zone. Now, thankfully, there were no rogues around here who decided to try to take us out. I think those 2 other players might have been in a group. But the way this usually works is you have to call in the helicopter via a flare. And the moment you do, the moment you start the extraction process and summon the helicopter, basically your position is broadcast across the entire map. Everyone on the map can see who activated an extraction point and where that extraction point is. So there's a real risk of players who might want to steal your stuff coming and hunting you down to kill you, get your items, and try to extract it themselves. It's this really quirky little piece of the game that adds a ton of tension and is honestly one of my favorite parts of being in the Dark Zone. You never know what's going to happen once that extraction flare goes off. And again, it really just adds to the overall tension that you feel whenever you walk into the Dark Zone. Now, so you can see over there, there's a group of players, all in a group, who are rogues. That red skull means they are rogue status, so I am getting the heck up out of here. as I want nothing to do with that. Now, another thing about being a rogue is that if you do wind up killing another player and get a rogue status, there is a timer that you can wait out. If you can manage to stay alive and stay safe until that timer runs out, then you will actually collect the bounty that's been built up and cleanse yourself of the rogue status, meaning you no longer show up on other players' radars. But alright, now that I've given you guys about a 10-minute recap of what exactly is in the Division beta, let's talk a little bit about my thoughts on it. Now, as I said before, I love it. I think this has been a really fun beta, but I do have some issues with it. I talked a little bit about my PvE issues and that there really just wasn't a lot to do in the PvE zone, and it seems like Ubisoft really just wanted to get players into the Dark Zone to experience that, which I guess is fine. You know, again, this is a beta, and the Dark Zone is where the most fun is found. But at the same time, I mean, not everybody's going to want to spend a lot of time in the Dark Zone. There are certainly players out there who prefer to just stay in PvE, and for the beta, there really just wasn't anything to do. Once you get that first mission done and get up to level 8, and you run a couple of the little situation report side quests, which again, there's only a few of them, there's really nothing to do in the PvE section of the game. So yeah, I definitely have some qualms with that. I do believe players would have gotten tired of running the same story mission over and over again and then just walking around the city and giving civilians sodas. While I know it's not going to be indicative of the final game, at least I hope, it just really made the PvE section feel empty. So that's my first big complaint about PvE, the gunplay. Now, I'll admit I've never been too fond of third-person cover shooters. I have played a fair share of stuff like Ghost Recon and Splinter Cell, and I do very much enjoy those games, but I prefer first-person all day long, and especially when you've got a looter-shooter game sort of like Destiny in the Division here, I would have preferred purely first-person action, but I can really appreciate the third-person cover system in this game. It's very reminiscent to me of the cover system in the previous Ghost Recon game, which I thought was pretty good. Now, the gunplay, it's not bad, but it's not great overall. And maybe I'm just spoiled by the absolutely fantastic gunplay in games like Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and especially Destiny. I think Destiny, to this day, has one of the best core FPS systems ever made. And the Division's gunplay system, even though it's different being a third-person game, just feels, Enemies are bullet sponges. I'm never a fan of bullet sponges, but I understand why. I mean, this is an RPG, so it's kind of hard to get around that. I do think it takes a few too many shots to bring down enemies, especially when you're landing headshots. It seems like it takes forever to bring some of these enemies down. So hopefully that gets toned down at least a little bit when the game fully releases, or maybe the guns themselves get a little bit of a damage boost. Now, speaking of the guns and the customization in this game, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I love what you can do with your appearance. I love that your armor and sets and whatnot is separate from your appearance. You can make yourself look like whatever you want while still getting the benefits of maximum armor. And at least in my opinion, I think the weapon modding system is cash. Now, of course, we didn't get to do very much with it in the beta. Of course, we only had access to weapon mods and not armor mods or too many other skill mods other than the medical skills. But I think it's a pretty neat system. Being able to change your weapon's DPS and other stats is definitely alright in my book. Now, for the Dark Zone in particular, again, I stated that I like the idea of it, but I do believe there are a few flaws with the execution, especially when it comes to the rogue system. Right now, the rogue system can be a little bit frustrating to work with. There have been quite a few times where I'm just firing at NPC enemies or maybe even a rogue player, and like another player just walks in front of my gunfire, and I'm immediately marked as a rogue. And I think there needs to be a bit of a forgiveness system added to the game because it's way too easy to get that rogue status. There's also a couple of exploits that people have been taking advantage of. Like, one thing people will do now to kind of grief you is they'll fire at you until you get to about a little bit before 60% of your health, so the game doesn't quite mark them as a rogue, but the moment you turn and retaliate and fire one shot at them, the game immediately, just like that, turns you into a rogue, and then they can kill you with impunity. No repercussions whatsoever, and I think that definitely needs to be changed. Now, on the flip side of that, I also think there needs to be maybe one or two more benefits to players who are rogue. Maybe this will be something that's solved in the larger game when that comes out, since we'll have more of the map. But one of the problems in the beta was if you go rogue and you don't cheese by going out of the zone and respawning at a checkpoint or in the safe area, then it's very hard to run out that timer. So maybe they could add in something like a rogue only safe zone that spawns randomly across the map whenever you hit rogue status 5, and if you can make it over there after a certain period of time, it'll open up and you can head in there and wait out the rest of your timer. I don't know, I think something like that would be pretty interesting. But there definitely needs to be a couple of changes, and I also think rogues should probably have limited healing. There were a couple of times where we ran into 5 level 5 rogues just all in a group, camping out the area next to the parking garage extraction, and once that happens, it's very hard to get them out of there. So having limited healing for rogue level 5s, or maybe some other detriment towards getting that many kills and becoming a rogue agent, I think might be in order, but who knows, we'll see when the full game comes out. Overall, I've had a lot of fun with the beta, and I'm even still playing it right now. This has really gone from a game that was on my radar, but I wasn't really planning on picking up, to something that I'm probably going to buy day one and have a lot of fun with, at least if the beta is any indication. PvE definitely needs more content, and that's a problem that should be hopefully solved when the full game comes out, and there are just a couple of changes that need to be made to the Dark Zone to really make it shine, but overall, it's really fun, and I've really enjoyed the Division beta, and I hope you guys have too. Be sure to leave me you guys' thoughts and comments on the Division beta in the comment section below. Looking forward to reading that. But alright, that's pretty much going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching this extremely long little chat about the Division beta. And again, it got extended. You've got 1 day left. Enjoy it. But alright, I'm out for now. As always, I am TheBlackLink. You agents stay frosty.